Hi, everyone. The Yentas are back. This is our first show for 23-24. Karen, we've done a lot before this interview, which we're going to do in a different show. We went to Azerbaijan. There is so much that we have to tell our viewers, but today...
He fell in a volcano, Ezzy. Fell in a volcano.
And Karen was taping it instead of pulling me out.
Wow.
But why, Karen? But what was I screaming? Don't put the camera down.
You can't. No, if you have a volcano in front of you, you have to record it.
Right. You see, the good thing is they pulled me out, but that's for a different show. Today, our guest is Ezzy, an internationally popular recording artist and DJ, the third of 7 children. Ezzy tries to capture the joy and simplicity of life and transpose it onto the complexities of modern young adulthood, weaving together the simple and the complicated into a unique, energizing sound. And this is, I'm quoting you, Ezzy, what makes us different is what makes us unique, says Ezzy. That's true. Karen, just so you know, Ezzy, people told us that we are crazy when we started Yentas in the city, and we believe that our concept is unique, and thank God we have over 20,000 followers right now. Wow. And we average between 3,000 to 6,000 views every episode. So you're absolutely right, Ezzy.
That's right.
But I'm going to continue quoting you. But that uniqueness has the ability to make one feel separate and alone. Channeling those feelings into productive and affirming motivator is really the goal of my music, bringing that satisfaction with oneself and making people feel comfortable in their own skin, regardless of who they are, where they come from, and what they've been through is really the goal of my music and what I'm trying to accomplish as an artist. Ezzy is married with a daughter who is 13 months. Ezzy is releasing his new single, If You Go, I'll Follow, on July 30th. Ezzy, we are so happy you are here on Yentas in the city. And I want to tell you why you are here. Karen, I don't know, you went to a wedding or bat mitzvah?
No, I was at a golf tournament and I sat with Ezzy and I actually met his cutie patootie daughter.
So she calls me up and she goes, I know who our next guest is. And I said, Karen, we have schedules. And she's like, no, you have to meet him. He's so cute and so energetic. And he's the new DJ, the new upcoming DJ. So
I'm honored. I'm really honored to be here. It's so fun.
Well, welcome, Ezzy. Welcome to Yentas in the City. You're the most sought after DJ in the Jewish world. And I think our listeners should know that you are such a multi-talented individual. Not only are you a DJ, but you also write and produce music. Can you share with our listeners how you got involved in the music business altogether?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. So I actually got into this, like you mentioned, songwriting stuff far before I got into DJing. The first time I ever wrote a song was I was a dorm counselor in a high school yeshiva in the East Coast. It was called Waterbury. It's a yeshiva that I have a lot of love for, and it's really, really, it's funny. I didn't go there as a student. I went there as a dorm counselor. I was 22 or 23 when I was there, and it's funny because usually people say school yeshivas change their life, as students, and I was like a mashpia, and it still changed my life, tremendously. Yeah, so it was a crazy story. I started writing music there. I had some time in my I guess dorm room, and some of the bachrim, they were really talented in music, and just started writing some thoughts, some ideas. I Googled a local studio nearby in Waterbury. Went there for the first time and recorded, my first song there, and it was really cool because that's kind of started the process on that downtime I had. And from there, I kind of found, I guess, more of an identity as who I am as a songwriter and who I am as a person and all these things. That was kind of the journey, but that's where it started, I would say.
Awesome. And you do that full-time, Ezzy? You are a full-time DJ?
Yeah, exactly. So DJ and sound and lighting is my full-time job, and then I also do this singing, songwriting as well. But
You know, it's funny you mentioned that about the lighting, because I was at a party, a very fancy party, private birthday party, and someone told me that they used you for the lighting. And I'm like, oh, yeah, but he's like a DJ. And they're like, no, he also does lighting.
Yeah.
And it really made a difference in the party.
Thank you so much. Yeah, light, it's funny, you know, how the industry has, I guess, transformed, like from when I was growing up. You know, there was no concept of lighting for bar mitzvahs. You know, I was simple.
You bought a DJ and a box, a jukebox.
Exactly. You know, and if you're lucky, you had a couple of, you know, people playing live music. And now, you know, it kind of, you know, transformed into this big industry of like a lot of lights and cool production. And I kind of, when I went into DJing, I started off with just DJing, and then naturally, you know, invested into more and more gear, and think, oh, now I have a whole company and a whole lighting production and a warehouse and a truck and all these different things that.
That's amazing.
Back in, yeah, thank God.
You the real deal.
Yeah.
Right, I don't know, you know.
Ezzy, can you share with our listener some of your upcoming project and what music you are presently producing, not as a DJ, but as a producer?
Yeah, so it's funny, you know, the term producer is a heavy term. I actually work with a very close friend of mine. He's I mentioned before, he's one of my best friends in the world. His name is Ezzy. He is my producer pretty much for all the projects I've been a part of since I started writing, and he is so talented and such a great guy. And I actually flew to Florida a few months ago to record some music, because the production side of things is really something I leave up to Ezzy, and we'll sit down together and we'll kind of build a track from scratch and say, you know, which direction do we want to go, and what type of emotions are we trying to pull, and what type of sound, and you know, production can get complicated. Sorry about that. My machine is doing the recording. But yeah, production can get complicated. And he's like really a master at his craft. And we've actually done a lot of Zoom sessions since I've been in LA, because he moved to Florida. But I'll do, you know, I'll usually will have a song that you know I'm really passionate about and say, hey, this is the idea, this is the vision. Let's kind of go to the drawing board and create. So back to your question of what I'm working on now. So I, like you mentioned in the beginning, I have a song coming out in a week from this Sunday, July 30th. It's called, so it's right after Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is Wednesday night to Thursday night, so it's the Sunday after. And it's a song called If You Go, I'll Follow. It's a really cool song. I'm really happy, excited about it. I wrote it about a year ago. It's an emotional song, and it's just kind of, it's just highlighting, I guess, commitments through any sort of relationship, and the specifically commitments to see things through during difficult times. So it's this idea of if you go, I'll follow. Like one person in the relationship is saying to the other one, like, through your struggles, I'm going to follow you, you know, no matter where you go. And it's a really cool song. It's like a ballad, and then it kind of has a rap part. I'm a rapper as well, so I rap and I sing. So it's a really cool song. I'm excited about that. It is uplifting, and a lot of the music that I plan to release after that as well is kind of this triumphant, you know, uplifting song type of feel. A lot of the music that people know me for might be a little bit too intense. I guess I might be known for writing a lot of like heartfelt music that might come across as, you know, sad or just too, you know, intense for certain people, because I'm a very honest writer, and I don't sugarcoat anything in writing, because I feel like, number one, it's not me, but two, it's lost in the listener if you're not honest with music. It's such a fine tune.
I'm just curious, before we move on to the other question, is who are your musical inspirations, secular and non-secular?
It's a great question. So I'm influenced by so many different artists, because I just kind of grew up on all types of music. And for sure, I guess in the Jewish world, I love, like, I grew up on the band Shalshelis, which was a really band that I really listened to a lot. And in the secular world nowadays, like my modern, I guess, influences, I listen to a lot of like chill pop. It's a certain genre. So there's like some artists like a person by the name of Lauv, or a band named Laney. I listen to the likes of like Post Malone, bigger artists like, and Drake, who obviously is more popular. I'm influenced by kind of like all different styles. I'm like this non-genre artist. I kind of just pull from wherever, you know.
Is there any specific artist that you would love to collaborate with?
That's such a good question. Yeah. There's so many. There's really so many. If I had to like name like five, it would probably either be like, Post Malone is up there for sure. There's an artist who I really like named, his name is Luke Christopher. He's really cool. He's like, a similar vibe to what I like to do. I like another artist, like I mentioned, Lau. He's really cool. But I think those are kind of up there. Post Malone, those are top, I guess, people that would be really cool.
Awesome. All right, Ezzy, are you ready? It's
Ready.
game time. It's time to real.
Yeah.
You can only pick one answer, Ezzy. Okay, this is how well do we know Ezzy, DJ Ezzy. You ready?
Born ready. Let's go.
Okay, wedding or bar mitzvah?
Wedding.
Clubs or Pesach programs?
What was the question?
Clubs or Pesach programs?
Oh God.
Keep it real. Keep it real.
Probably clubs.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. Golf tournaments or graduations?
Golf tournaments for sure.
White shirts or polos?
Honestly, neither. But if I had to choose, I'll do polo. I'm a t-shirt guy. But yeah.
Scotch or tequila?
Such a good question. I'm gonna go with Scotch though.
What brand?
My favorite alcohol is Macallan.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shrekky or Benny Friedman?
Ooh, I love that. Schwecky. But I love them both.
Oh, okay. Yay.
Thank
Actually,
you.
Shrekky is a good friend of ours, and so is Nissim Black. And I think Karen, the first thing that she said when she told me all about you was, we should get them together with Shrekky and Nissim Black. And that's something we'll talk about after the show.
We had a lot of great.
Sure, yeah, I'm friendly with Simcha Leiner. Nissim. It's funny. I was just texting Nissim a few weeks ago. We've been in contact because it's similar. We haven't, nothing has formulated yet, but maybe something in the works. And Yaakov Shweki, I met him a few times personally. Wonderful person. Obviously.
Amazing.
So I want to ask you one more question. Do you actually, if somebody writes a song, would you do the music for a song that they wrote? Is that something people approach you?
Yeah, people have asked me because I do music. People say, "Oh, my kid wrote a song, or I wrote a song. Can you help me?" I don't do the production. I'll guide them in arranging the format of the song. Like, okay, here, this is how the structure of the song should look like. You start with an intro, then maybe do the verse, and maybe do like a pre-chorus or a chorus and a bridge, and I'll kind of help them structure. But once it gets into production, I'll say, hey, my boy Ezzy, he's the wizard. He's someone great, and I've actually put a lot of people in contact with Ezzy. That's usually how it goes.
Cool.
Ezzy, on a personal note, you're a new father, you're young. How do you manage, because most of the events, I just presume, are at night. It's very difficult raising kids. We are like the Yentas, we are all the Yentas, but we still remember how hard it was with like little babies at home. Obviously, you come from a Jewish background, you want to expand the family. How hard is it, and how do you manage?
Yeah, it's such a on-point question. It's so relevant, and
that's the Yenta question, the motherly worried about Ezzy.
You don't have to answer, Ezzy. You just take the baby with you.
What was that? Oh yeah, that's a great answer too. By the way, so it's a great question. First off, it has to start with obviously my wife being just like a superhero, because obviously in any relationship you need two people who are willing to kind of be there for another. And when I'm gone in the evenings and my wife is alone and putting the baby to bed, that it takes lunch. Some days that's after she was with the baby the whole day. So it starts out that I'm very blessed, and I do believe that Baruch Hashem, I've been blessed to have a very supportive and loving wife who's like incredible. So it all starts there in terms of even just to have the menuchas nefesh to go out and not worry about like, okay, is everyone okay at home? Like, that's first. So that definitely like calms my nerves, but it is definitely a lot to juggle that, sometimes it's funny because in this industry, I was very nervous about a year ago, 13 months ago, that I actually God forbid, would be at a gig when my wife goes into labor. That was like a big concern of mine. I actually had a wedding planned on her due date. So when the doctor gave us the due date, I was like, well, Das, I have a wedding that night. So, it was a stressful thing because in this business, when you're working evenings, you never know what you might miss. And I just pray to Hashem that, like, if I'd be able to be there for the birth of my child and not at a gig, that'd be super awesome, And thank God, the due date, I think, was maybe Sunday or Tuesday, I don't recall, but she was born Erev Shabbos. So it was like perfect time where it wasn't on a gig, and it was really amazing. I was able to be there, and it was obviously very special. And my daughter's name is actually Malka Menucha, which is a very Shabbos.
Oh, that's I love it.
So, which is like she was born before Shabbos. Funny fact, which is, I only found this after, both my wife and I, and now my daughter, were all born Erev Shabbos, which is really cool.
Oh, wow.
So we're all like Shabbos babies. But in terms of just the day-to-day, I would say when I get to do bedtime and there's no gig, it's really special because I like doing bedtime, and I like, I usually like to put her to sleep with a song,
I was just going to ask, do you sing for her?
I like to say, I sang for her 2 hours after she was born, L'Chadodi, because it was before Shabbos, and then it was really special, and obviously it's very emotional. But that song, it's funny, you don't know the power of music until just when the neshama hears music. So I sang a song for her, L'Chadodi. It was a certain version of the L'Chadodi, and I remember that the first week or two when she was crying back at home when we were home, she would freak out. But if I would put on that song, there was this menucha, she would just calm down as if like she knew it. So it was very emotional for me to hear that. Like, the koach of music is it goes straight into a neshama.
To the soul. Absolutely. I believe in that.
Love it.
When I get to do bedtime, it's great. But other than that, my wife is really the superhero when it comes to the juggling all that.
That's wonderful. Ezzy, we wouldn't be Yentas if we didn't get any scoop from you. Time to dish. Anytime that you felt you just wanted to leave an event, that you just weren't feeling like the event was a match for you. And so I want to know that. I mean, without specifics, and also, how annoying is it when people are coming up to you when you're DJing and possibly requesting songs all night long?
Yeah, those are two good questions. In terms of the first question, thank God I don't think I've ever been at an event where I'm like, oh my gosh, get me out of here, it's that bad. I try to take everything with a good attitude in general. It's just my perspective on life. I've worked, all the details are kind of not so important. So I'm more like a big picture type of guy. So like a little trouble at work, a little this and that. So thank God I've never been like, I need to get out of here. There's been difficult clients, but I try not to harp on that. In terms of the request being an annoyance, it's a great question. I would say I've developed thick skin for it in general. In general, I know many DJs, it's like their pet peeve. I feel like I'm a nice person just by nature, the way I grew up. I was always like accommodating with friends and stuff. So the idea of someone coming up to me and asking for something and me not being nice to them is not really part of my makeup. Deep down, is it annoying? It can be annoying if the request is very persistent and it's not what I feel a good request is. I feel like the music's going one way and they'll be like, oh, can you play this? And this is like, no. And on occasion, I'll be honest, it's the client or it's the client's grandmother. And I'll be like, you know what, listen, it's different.
You can't say no to the bubby.
Right. And I'll do it. And I kid you not, the dancer got killed faster than an atomic bomb. But it's just what I had to do for that client. So I have a pretty good gauge of what I feel is working. And if the request is not within what I think was going to rock it, I'll just say, you know what, it's possible I'll get to there. I don't like to promise. I don't like saying no request because I don't want to be that guy who is, the mean guy. It's obviously, I enjoy events when there's less requests because I'm able to be me. Obviously, when you're able to just be you and be your creative self, it's the easiest. But I don't like harping on like the negative things of, oh, they're so annoying, yada, yada, yada. Yes, it's easier without them, but I'll leave it like that.
Wow.
So now, did you ever fly out of LA did people hire you?
Sure. All the time. I've done events in Mexico, Canada, New York all the time, Florida. I flew out to Israel for a concert. Really cool. That was cool. So I've flown all over. I'm flying to New York again for a few weddings in August, twice. So
we might be in August. We have a business meeting in August, middle of August. So
For sure.
Ezzy, before we wrap up, I wanted to find out if is there a phone number where our viewers can book you? And do you have a website that they can see some of your work?
So it's a great question. So the way to book me generally is through the email, actually. The phone number I do sometimes, but it's really my email, which is Ezzy. So my name is Ezzy, E-Z-Z-I, which is Ezzy at ezzymusic.com. Pretty simple. Ezzy at ezzymusic.com is the best way to reach me. I'm checking that every day. In terms of a website, so my website right now is mainly on my songwriting, producing. I'm actually just now, it's funny you mentioned it, just today I had a conversation. I'm building a second website for my DJ lighting production side of things. I kind of merged into this DJ lighting business because I needed a way, once I got married, I needed a way to bring, food to the table. And
absolutely,
songwriting it's beautiful, but it's very hard to make money for sure, a living off it. So that's when I kind of merged in there, but I never built the proper website just for that. So I'm working on that as well. So that's, I guess, to be determined. But right now, ezzymusic.com is where you can find my songs, my music videos, my blogs, whatever it is, stuff like that.
Everyone
I want to tell you, you probably know the company. I'm not going to mention it here. But one of my really dear friends, Israeli, started as a DJ and went into lighting. And right now, because we work in entertainment for many years, is one of the biggest lighting, is like in his mid-40s, one of the biggest lighting companies for the studios. So you probably know who he is, but he's doing phenomenal. So I think it's very smart, even though the DJ, it's something that you love, just like you said, for a growing family, I think the lighting is also.
Yeah, it's the natural pivot and like, I guess, it's what you do. A lot of the DJs before me are DJs that have, I see, you can only DJ for so long, or because it's a tough business to keep that, like, stamina, if you will, because after 10, 15 years, it's wearing work and it's late night. Not too many 45-year-olds are just spinning at midnight. So you want to somehow, naturally blend into something that can be in a similar space, which is lighting production, but you necessarily don't need to be there at midnight doing all that. It's a natural way.
Well, Ezzy, this was really an amazing interview. Your journey to success, both professionally and personally, is inspirational to us all. We wish you so much success in your music career. We hope to have you on Yentas in the City again. Ezzy and I would love to get together with you and your wife for dinner one night. We thank you again for joining us. You're such a cutie, right, Ezzy? Amote?
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
And now you have two extra bubbies to watch your daughter for you when you want to go on a date night.
Careful. You might get a text from me in a half an hour.
We would like to thank all of our followers for listening to this episode. Please remember, you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Yentas in the City. You could also write to us at dearyentas@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you and answer your letters on our weekly advice column. We would also like to thank our team for all the behind-the-scenes work. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Soft Smart Systems International and Conquest Realty Investments. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to see you next time. This is Karen Cohen and Ezzy Elkis, and we are Yentas in the City. Thank you. Be safe, and remember to be the Ruth in the room. And check out DJ
Ezzy next time, next party, book him.
Thank you guys so much. It was an honor. I really appreciate it. I had a great time.